If you want to quit drinking and start creating, watch this video and subscribe to my channel. I am the Alcoholic Audio Engineer, coming to you from lovely, scenic Paju City, South Korea. And this channel focuses on home audio production, specifically with a focus on it's something that's a lot better to do than drink yourself to death. And it's a hobby that got me through many a long night, kept me away from the bottle. So my channel is youtube.com/alcoholic audio engineer, and I have a tutorial series on how you can learn how to build a song in Cakewalk, which is a free digital audio workstation that you can download and install on your computer in a matter of minutes. And even if you don't have the instruments or the wherewithal to start recording, creating a song, you can always start with mastering, which is what I am in the middle of right now. I'm in the middle of remastering an album that I recorded. I've been saying in 2007, but actually it was 2006, 2006. Recorded live in a Buddhist temple hall in rural South Korea, outside of the city of Daejeon. Remastering it for possible re-release. And so this video is going to focus on remastering. There are 3 songs on this album that feature American Indian flutes, specifically made of cedar and one made of eagle bone, which I'm guessing is probably an eagle bone flute. It's probably something that would not be legal to own, except that the owner and the man who played the flutes on this album is a man of American Indian descent. I don't say Native American because he prefers American Indian. So that's what we're going to call it. Zane, I'll just be speaking directly in the second person to Zane as I get into this. So if you're new to the channel and you're interested in beating an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, this is a great hobby to get into. Mastering is the process of taking something that's already been recorded and mixed and preparing it, finishing it for release. So this is something that you can do with a digital audio workstation program like Cakewalk, which I'll show you here in a minute, and some other tools that are free to download. And yeah, and you can take any song that you like and put the audio into the software and just start playing around with the tools, changing the sound, tweaking the sound, seeing what you can do with it, seeing if you can make it sound more to your taste. And that's a good way to get to know your way around the software and the tools that we use to manipulate audio. Okay, so let's get into it. First, I'm going to turn on my webcam here and get myself out of the way so you can see my desktop screen here. So here's a situation that we're dealing with. The album was released in 2006, and I want to remaster it. What that means is that I have the previously released tracks from the album. I do not have the tracks of the individual parts, the individual instruments. So I don't have very fine-toothed control over. I'm very limited in what I can do. When you have the guitar track, the bass track, the drum tracks, the vocal track, all separated, and you can control them and manipulate them individually. That is the stage of the audio production process called mixing. And then once you're done with the mix, you mix all those individual tracks down into one waveform, one audio track. And then you set about polishing that mix down and preparing that for its final form. That is the mastering process. So I don't have individual instrument tracks. I just have the mix downs. And so I am remastering. So I have very limited, I'm very limited in my ability to, let's say, single out any single element in the mix, whether it be the vocal or the bass part or a guitar part. In this case, American Indian flute parts. I'm very limited in my ability to single them out for enhancement, let's say, in this case. Limited, but I have some tricks up my sleeve. Wearing short sleeves tonight, but tricks up my sleeve nonetheless, and that's what I'm going to get into here. And I'm going to prepare you for what I'm about to do by using some analogies. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So the analogy of how does the saying go? Reaganomics. A rising tide lifts all boats, right? So if you think of an EQ curve, right? What I'm trying to do is enhance the sound of an American Indian flute, which its fundamental frequencies occupy a certain region of the audio spectrum, okay? From, well, it depends on the flute, but low to high trebles, okay? And I could use, and I have some quite nice EQ plugins, which I could use to enhance that region of the audio spectrum. But the thing is, as I use that to enhance the sound of that flute, it's going to take everything, all the other frequencies in that region up with it in equal measure. And so some of those frequencies I might not want coming up in volume with that flute. Okay, so hence the analogy of a rising tide lifts all boats. So I'm not going to use an EQ plugin. I'm going to use another kind of plugin. And for this plugin, I'm going to start with the analogy of a slotted spoon. All right. It's the best analogy I could think of to go along with rising tide lifts all boats, because they both have to do with liquid body of water. In this case, in a cooking pot. I'd like to let's say that that flute is some solid ingredient in that pot, in that mix, and I'd like to lift it to the surface as selectively as possible, sort of leaving, filtering out other things around it as much as possible. It's not a perfect analogy, but I think it gets the idea across. And even better yet, now this is a bit more, this kind of goes beyond analogy here, but it's still an analogy. Take a look at my screen here. You see, I think you've probably encountered one of these things before. It's a frame with pins in it, right? And you press on one side of the pin frame with your palm, and the impression of your hand is kind of extruded out the other side. So imagine that the mix, the song, is like that pin frame, but a lot bigger. It's the size of a desk. And let me see. So let's say that different regions of these pins are made of different metallic alloys that react differently to different voltages of electricity, let's say. And you have the ability, and they will respond to the induction of an electric current. They will respond to that stimulus by pushing up. So if you induce a current, an electric current of a certain voltage, of a certain energy, it will excite certain of those pins made of certain kinds of alloy to pop up. And if you could be specific about what kind of energy that you inject, what kind of electrical energy you inject into that pin frame. So let's say that I know the composition of the alloy of the pins that represent the signal that's mixed into. It's already mixed down, but I know the composition of the alloy of the pins that represent that flute sound, and I'm able to induct an electric current that, not with great precision, but with a great deal more precision than an EQ, I can cause that flute sound to poke out much the same way that the hand pokes out. I hope this makes sense. Kind of the best. It's a clumsy analogy, but it's the best way that I could think of to really accurately express what's going on here with the tool that I'm going to be using. I'm going to try to make this American Indian flute stand out from the mix as selectively as I possibly can. Okay, so let's get to it. Hang on a second. So here's my mastering file. Here's my tool. It's called Energy2 by Airwindows. Airwindows is a toolkit designed by a mad genius named Chris, and all the plugins are free, available on all platforms, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Free and open source under an MIT license. And these are not your typical audio tools. Okay, so I'm not going to read through this whole blurb here. Each one of his tools comes with a little essay explaining it in highly technical terms and also in sort of dumbed down language for people like me. But this is a tool that acts, in some ways, it acts very much like an EQ, but it's not actually an EQ. And so in some ways it acts superficially, it resembles an EQ, but it's not really an EQ. And that's what I'm going to be using right here. You can see at the bottom there's a dry-wet mix. Okay, that just determines a blend between the signal before processing and the processed signal. I've got it full on, and I'm going to leave it right there for now. And then in ascending order, you see snarl, yower, chug, scrape, fizz, rat, glitter, and hiss. These refer to frequency bands in the low to high mid-range. Up into the trebles, actually. I should say mid-range to treble, okay? Even when you get to hiss, up into the high trebles. But as he explains, it's kind of a high mid-range focus, but it also, each one of these also brings, it's how to explain it. It does things up in the high trebles and up in the airy reaches around 15, 16 to even up to 20 kilohertz as well. But anyway, here's what it's going to do. Here's how I'm going to use it to bring out that American Indian flute, which I think is only appropriate because, okay, this song has two shamanic instruments in it. One is, I'll show it to you. One is this Korean gong, and it is literally, let me see, I'm gonna maximize the studio cam here just to give you a good view of it. All right. And it's a real actual shaman gong. Korea does still have shamans. You can go to them and retain them for their services. I just tapped on it with the tip of a finger. That's not really going to... hang on. Where did I put my backpack? That has my... Oh, there it is. Just a second. I was out capturing audio samples earlier in the evening, and I had this in my backpack. This is the mallet that comes with the gong, and so I'm going to tap it very softly, but. So this is the very gong that you hear in this song. And I am playing it. The gong happens to be the fundamental frequency of the gong happens to be an A flat. And go figure. One of Zane's American Indian flutes. I guess it must have been an A flat or something that went with A flat. But anyway, I think this was a cedar flute. Anyway, I think that these shamanic instruments should be leading the presiding over the proceedings, as it were, and not, they should be leading, not following. All right. So, with that said, first, I'm going to, I'm going to get this tool out of the way. And I'm going to move myself over to the other corner. All right. Now, excuse me. All right. Now I'm going to, Zane, here is the original track from the CD. Here's what it sounds like. Click, 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 and away we go. Now here is what it's sounding like in the remaster. So you can hear the gong, you can hear that flute going. All right. Oh! Okay, I've got some adjustments to make. I'm going to pause it and be right back. Okay, just something that happens whenever I add this particular tool. This is a compressor plugin. These tools are called plugins. This is the right here is the long chain of plugin tools that I'm using to remaster this track right here. That's the waveform of the song, of the track. And so earlier today, I added this compressor plugin and saved it, restarted it, and the plugin was running too hot. There is some distortion, okay? Well, let's say heavy saturation. This was recorded to digital audio tape, which acts and sounds a lot like analog audio tape. And there is a fair amount of what we call saturation, kind of verging on distortion. The idea here is you heard the original audio signal. I don't want to create any more saturation than was already present in the original signal. I just want to magnify and amplify and make it clearer, louder, more present, more energetic, more alive, more what it was like to be in this gigantic wooden Buddha hall, which you can go look at on the internet. I'll put a link in the description. You can go look at it. What was it like to be there? That's what, when I listen to this, that's what I want it to sound like. I want it to feel like the real experience of being there. Okay, so with this compressor too hot, it was just getting a little bit garbled. It was too much, so I just had to turn it down. And now, that's better. It was up like that. That's about right. Leave it there for now, and I'm going to see when we're peaking. Minus 0.7 decibels. The ceiling in digital audio is 0.0. I'm currently peaking at minus 0.7, which is fine. That's just where I want to be at this point. Now, you can hear the gong right there. The flute coming in. Those are buk, or traditional Korean drums. It was a drum kit made of traditional Korean drums with no cymbals. So, back to the tool. Here's the tool that I'm going to be using. Yeah, I'm going to be working on the gong after I finish working on the flute. So I'm just going to shut up and start during the playback here. I'm going to start twisting knobs on this tool. Zane, just listen to what happens. Now, I want you to notice something. These top three, hiss, glitter, and rat. Now, obviously, I've got these maxed out, which is overkill. But I'm going to bring them back to parity here. And notice how, as I turn them up, that flute becomes, it begins to stand out and emerge from the mix, become more prominent, without the rest of the mix so prominently doing the same, right? But then notice what happens when I hit the fizz knob. Okay, so I'm going to hit playback again, and I'm going to play with the top three knobs, and then I'm going to hit the fizz knob, and listen to what happens. It's an improvement. Now watch what happens when I hit fizz. That's where the rest of the mix really starts to get to come up in volume with the flute. That's where I begin to lose delineation. All right, so these top three knobs are the best thing that I have to work with that I know of to bring that flute out without bringing out too much of other things with it. Okay. I'm just going to turn them all the way down. I'm going to take them down to -1 and see if you can make out the flute. Still, very much there. Bring it back to parity. That's an interesting thing there. I'm still learning about this tool. And it's interesting that at parity, which is, let me see. So parity is 0.0000. There must be some, this must work with phase somehow, because I didn't actually realize this. If I take them down to -1, okay, so I'm going to start playback again, and you can hear that flute pretty clear, and then I'm going to bring them back to 0 and listen what happens. That's very interesting. Now, what's coming out is particularly the sonority of the flute, the voicing, the sort of vowel-like qualities of it. I want you to, I want to be able to hear the wood. I want to be able to hear the wind going through the wood. Okay, so now that I understand a little bit better what's going, I haven't been working with this tool for very long, only maybe a week now. So, I guess the thing to do now is to AB -1, -1, -1 with +1, +1, +1. All right, so we've heard, let's just hear with them all in -1 again. And it's 0 again. Now, let's take them all to +1. It's interesting to me. The flute is more or less equally distinct in both situations, +1 and -1. But of course, +1 is bringing more of the mix with it. Okay, and then that gets really pronounced with fizz. Okay, so that's really interesting too, right there. That's too much brightness, just too much. It's overkill. And I'm going to fine-tune the top 3, Hiss, Glitter, and Rat. I think I've already decided I like them north of 0, better than south of 0. But I find interesting, maybe a little bit too bright, clamped all the way to 1. I'm talking about too much overall brightness. However, listen to what happens when I compensate by bringing fizz below 0. Darkens it again. Darkens the rest, but that flute let's try scrape. I'm just going to leave fizz at 0. And I'm going to twist, scrape back and forth, see what happens. Wow. There's something to focus on right there. That tremolo effect that you did there, Zane. Right now I'm bypassing this tool over here. Now there are of course, all kinds of other things that are going on that I'm paying attention to that, I don't have the time to talk about. There's like dozens of things that I'm paying attention to at the same time, little details. And it's all a balancing act. And it's always compromises. So at some point, I'm just going to have to play around with it, find what I consider to be a sweet spot, where I have all these knobs right where I want them, where I get what I want, getting that flute right up front, without other things happening that are without anything degrading happening to the rest of the mix. Okay. So, that's the work that I have ahead of me. I'm probably going to spend another 20, 30 minutes on this and get this tool set where I think it is optimal. And then going to move on to something else and come back tomorrow or, maybe the next day and listen to it with fresh ears and a fresh brain. But anyway, that's how it works. Energy2 by Airwindows. Great tool. And another tool that is related. This is an EQ-like tool that is not actually an EQ. A related tool that I'm using is Stonefire, which is a filter-like tool that is not actually a filter. So I bypass both these tools and right now, as I play with the scrape knob, I'm paying attention to the attack on the drum heads. As the sticks strike the drum heads, how sharp that attack is, and how that's being influenced by the scrape parameter. And the overall brightness and darkness of the whole mix right here.
Listen to me, it's coming through me. Listen to me, it's coming through me. What's going on up in your head? What's going down in your heart?
What do you think, Zane? It's quite a lot darker. But less aggression. It's less aggressive. going to have to consider the
What's going on up in your head?
guitar work coming in as well.
You can sound off like you're so tough, but it's all just little kid stuff. You can huff and you can puff, man. But it's just the bluff of a blind man. All caged in and dated. They think of man frustrated. What's going on up in your head? What's going down in your heart? Well, you can lean on my sunrise, but it's still the same in my eyes. Well, you can try to take my sky down, but you'll never
Now the flute's not going right now, but I take his splitter and rat down to 0, and I find that I like the added brightness
Everybody's got their own war.
in the rest of the mix as well.
Oh, you bloom out of your heart. You can shine out to everyone. Oh, you can lay your whole life down. You said you can lay your whole life down. Said you can lay your whole life down. Oh, what's going down in your heart? Oh, what's going on up in your head? Listen to me, it's coming through me. Oh, listen to me, it's coming through me.
There's also that Doug Steedman's synthesizer
To me, it's coming through me.
doing little nuclear detonations.
Listen to me, it's coming through me.
There's also a
Listen to me, it's coming through.
see that knob automatically going back and forth. This is a flanging effect. Right. I got kind of like this Pythagorean fetish with odd numbers. So 59, 59, 39. Ah. Right. So that's where I think I'm going to leave it for now. I think that's a good, happy balance. It is bringing the overall brightness of the entire mix-up, but on balance, it really is bringing that fruit out with much more control, in my opinion, than with a standard EQ tool. And So I'm liking what I hear right now. Yeah, that's an example. And as I told you, Zane, there are 2 other tracks. The first 3 tracks on this album, you played those flutes of yours on them. I'm just going to go ahead and save this one. It's a Matter of How You Walk is the title of the song. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm guessing that I'm going to skip. I'm not going to do. All right, I think you played the eagle bone flute on track 2, which is called "My Bones Will Tell You Where I've Been." You did it. You came in at the end of this song, and so I'm not going to do. The third one is. Or Does the World Dream Me? I haven't really started this focus on the flute on that track yet. But let's see, My Bones Will Tell You Where I've Been. There it is right there. You tell me, Zane, is this the eagle bone flute? This is a chain gang song. So, literally, it's got chains in it and sledgehammers, like a chain gang. Of course, the sledgehammer is drums, a drum. I think Stu is hitting more than one drum at the same time. Here's what it sounds like. Zane, I think you don't come in till the end. Where's my tool? Okay, there's my tool, my Energy2 tool. I already have Rat, Glitter, and Hiss up. I haven't fiddled around with bringing Fizz and Scrape down yet on this one. Well, let's hear how it sounds. All right, first without. Here's the original. Hang on, disengage everything. And just, I mean, Zane, when I told you that this was quiet, and in my opinion, I mean, I don't. This is mastering. I don't know what kind of mastering this is, but trying to give my friend the benefit of the doubt. But here is, we want. Even if we have a very dynamic track, which means that there's a big difference between the quietest parts and the loudest parts, we want the loudest parts to be clipping at or near the ceiling of 0.0. And in the original album version, I don't think it ever peaks. Sometimes I say the word clip. Clip means peaking over 0.0. I do that sometimes, sorry. Peaking is reaching the highest level. I don't think this song peaks over 3.9 minus 3.9. Okay, minus 3.7. Anyway, it never peaks anywhere close to 0.0. And if you look at the way the meters are rising and falling, hang on. Okay, minus 0.4. Now, in between the drum hits, it's going all the way down into the minus, all the way down, right? It's a very dynamic song. Huge dynamic range. But, so I don't want to over compress it. Compress it means like bring the overall volume way up and attenuate the loudest parts so they're a little bit quieter, and amplify the quietest parts so they're a bit louder. When you do that, you reduce the dynamic range. This is all a matter of taste, of course, right? So I don't want to over compress this. I want to retain that dynamic range as much as possible, but I do want to make it louder. and I do want to convey the power of that room, the power of those drums in that room, and to make it feel more alive and present. So now I'm going to turn everything back on. So it begins with the chains rattling on the floor, which you can barely hear, right? Barely hear it. Now, re-engage everything. And hear those chains now. That's the beginning of the song, you know. That chain is the beginning of the song. It's kind of nice to hear the beginning of the song when you hit play. Right. We're peaking now. Minus 0.3. That's more like it. And you can see it's still going almost all the way down in between. Huge dynamic range here. Now later on, you could hardly hear my vocal when it came in originally. There's the gong. There's our gong. Where does that come in here? Check it out. That's what that gong does when you hit it a little harder. It bends. It does things.
Really, I remember the moment I awoke.
Listen to. Okay, so here's how it originally sounded. If you put the CD in your CD player and hit play, this is what you get. It's this. I don't know. Anyway, you can't hear what that gong is all about. Just can't. All right, so onto the what I think is the eagle bone flute. So there's a guitar that comes in right there, played by Don the Australian.
Now fear can drive you crazy.
All right, so where's the flute come in? Right there. Sounds like an eagle bone flute to me, Zane. Now compare that to the original, and you tell me. It's ridiculous. Oh, God, you know. This is what I mean when, I say this album has never really been heard. Listen to the diff. As you like to say. Feel the diff? Zane? Feeling the diff here? Let me bring my tool back up. All right? Yes. giving me goosebumps. Let me just go back and A-B it. Now, I'm not going to turn everything off back to the original mix, but I'm going to A-B this Energy2 tool and turn it off and on with your flute playing. You see? So there's a brightening of the rest of the mix when I kick this tool in, but it's more pronounced with your flute. And I'm really, really, really happy about this, man. Because Zane, brother. That's the end of the song. And you played with if memory serves, that was just okay. There were no rehearsals, and I think that was one take. And Zane played with artistry and taste and restraint and power. And how lucky am I to have that? I mean, it's a very, very austere arrangement, okay? It's just sledgehammer drums, rattling chains, a creepy guitar, like you'd hear in a, I don't know, what kind of movie would you hear that in? It's a Quentin Tarantino movie or something. But the gong, the shaman gong. My voice, and the star of the show is that flute. That just comes out of nowhere, and it's ethereal is not the right word. It is ethereal, but it's way too powerful just to be called ethereal. Now you can hear your breath whooshing through it. And that's the way it should be. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was one of the cedar flutes, but it sounds like eagle bone to me. I hope I'm right. I hope that's the eagle bone flute. You tell me, Zane. Okay, this has gone on long enough. And I will keep posting things that I deem interesting that I run into on this remastering, in this remastering process here. And this is something that anybody can do. So before I close out, again, I'm just going to go back to the internet here. And, right, where's my internet? Okay. So, if you want to start messing around with this right now, all you have to do is download Cakewalk. Cakewalk by BandLab. And download. Cakewalk installer. Windows 10 or higher, 64-bit only. But you can get it for Mac. Download it, install it. It takes 2 or 3 minutes. And then Airwindows. I would start airwindows.com. Go right here. Here's Chris, the inventor, designer of these tools, which are the best tools out there, paid or free. His consolidated plugin, which I'm using here, it's one plugin. Oh, here, I'll show you. So you see Airwindows. Open that, and I click this right there, and these are all the, over here on the right, these are all the plugins within this one plugin. These are all the tools, okay? And you can, just look into it. I can't explain everything right here, but YouTube is just full of thousands and thousands of how-tos and tutorials on how to get around Cakewalk's interface, and how to load a plugin, a tool, into your effects chain. But here's the audio track. I can have more than one, of course, if I'm mixing, and I've got more than one, and I'm mixing, then this is my tool rack, my effects rack for this track. Over here is the master channel. This one is called, number one is called audio down here, number one, audio. These two are one and the same, okay? But over here, I have control, a little bit more control over this track over here. This is the master. If I had 3, 5, 7, 10 tracks over here, channels, they would all be funneling into the master channel and going through these plugins, these tools, before reaching the output stage of the signal path. Okay. Okay. Or, you can go back and watch some of my earlier videos on Cakewalk and how to get around the user interface. But in very little time, you can be up and running, and you can just go to YouTube and I kind of like recommend doing it with, just pick like an old Joe Walsh song, what's that one? It's an old song that you like, and load it in. You just like download the MP4 into a folder, and open the folder, and you just have an audio track open here in Cakewalk, and drag your MP4, your MP3, whatever it is, it'll work. Drag it up, just drag it from the folder into the audio track and drop it. And there will be the waveform. And then you can just start, here's how you click the little plus, insert audio effects. Okay, I've got a lot of plugins, I've got a lot of tools here, but I'm focusing on Airwindows Consolidated. You can start loading tools, playing around with them. Just play around. Each tool comes with a little essay that tells you what it does. And it's just and once you get into it, man, I'm telling you, maybe it's not for everybody. I get that. But if you love music and, if you get a liking for it, it's a great way to occupy your mind and get you through it got me through the long, desolate, lonely nights when I couldn't sleep after quitting booze. And it can do that for other people too. I'm certain of it. Okay. And I really do actually recommend starting like with this stage of things. Just start with one track and pick a song that you like. Old song. Could be anything. Something from the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s maybe. Play around with it. Learn your way around the user interface. And then, if you got a microphone, USB mics are not prohibitively expensive nowadays. And your first USB mic, I did a video on picking a USB mic. When you're just starting out, you can't go wrong. Really. If you can bang out some first position cowboy chords on a guitar, and something to do. And you practice at it. At the end of it, you've made something, and you mix it down. You cue it up in your car, listen to it, put it on different devices, see how it sounds. You got something to show for your time, and so I that's why I'm here. That's why I started this channel. Okay, so enough said. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back. I don't know what I'm going to be back with next time, but thanks for watching. That's it from here in lovely, scenic Paju City, South Korea. Alcoholic audio engineer, over and out.